Hello, and welcome to another episode of 8 News Real Talk. Sorry, I'm not used to the new setup with the camera being over here. Let me introduce my guest, as always, my co-host, Julia Broberg.
Sorry, I forgot the camera.
We're keeping all of this in. That's fine.
We're keeping it real. R-E-E-L, real.
That's right. That's what we do here at 8 News Real Talk. We have a couple of movies to review.
So let's get into it.
Let's just get right into it.
McCay. What'd you think?
We're reviewing 2 James L. Brooks movies. The first is a new release, Ella McCay. It's his first film in a decade, more? Well, I can't remember.
I was so excited to hear. Let's preface this. I love James L. Brooks. He has directed some of my favorite movies of all time, including Broadcast News and As Good as It Gets.
Terms of Endearment.
Terms of Endearment. Some bangers.
Right.
That's not what he produced this time around.
Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for this and being quite excited for it because we've been missing these kinds of comedies.
Disheveled brunettes in positions of power, like,
yeah,
whoa, she can't get her shoe on. She's so quirky and...
you can't hold it. You can't even let us get through the intro here. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on Ella McCay. I've already heard them, I feel like. But yeah, like mid-budget movies went out of style in the last couple of decades. And basically there's been only room for very small indie films or big-budget blockbusters. So it's nice anytime. And there've been a couple of attempts at this. Isn't the only one. There was that rom-com with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney a couple years ago, last year.
Anything for you or something like that?
I think Anyone But You.
Anyone
that's what
But
it was.
You.
Yeah. That was an attempt at sort of trying to go back to the capturing up people's nostalgia for a very specific era of rom-coms, I think.
How did you feel about that movie?
Oh, it was pretty bad.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. At least we agree on one thing this episode.
But this is a different sort of attempt. This is bringing in an old master to do what he does best, and to some mixed results, especially from fans and audiences who I think resoundingly have shown that they did not like this movie. But maybe we can be the light in the darkness here, Julia. And
get away from me. Why are you doing this?
And Sames James L. Brooks and defend him a little bit.
I'll defend James L. Brooks. This is what he's... Okay, can we... He's an instigator. You guys know
I am
this.
absolutely
He's
instigating. I'm just kidding.
We were talking about this beforehand, and I was saying something. He was like, wow, a lot of James L. Brooks hatred in the room. I was like, pause.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
Because he knows that I love James L. Brooks, and that this is such a devastating blow to see that when you said watching the master at work, bringing him back, and watching him fail. Sorry.
Right.
To me, watching him just... it actually makes me a little bit angry.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell us how you feel, or pre-spoilers, but give us your rating of Ella McCay. What did you think of it?
I don't know. I would maybe give it like a 2-star. I just thought that it wasn't coherent tonally. A lot of the writing was pretty bad to me. Yeah. It would shift into this. I don't like when you know that, they're about to start monologuing, like they're about to start giving you life affirmations and whatever. And I just didn't think the characters fit well. I didn't really believe in the relationships between the characters. It felt like it was pandering to an audience that doesn't exist anymore, except for the one guy that was in our theater that was having a ball. He was having the time of his life, and we'll talk about him.
We'll talk about it. Central part of the movie was that guy in the audience that we all saw.
I said we'll talk about him. Like, he's an integral part
of the experience.
He was an integral part of how I felt about this movie.
Sure,
my experience. And that's the only one that really matters in the show. Can you imagine if this is somebody's first Real Talk episode?
This is
us. How did you feel about it? What would your rating be? And how did you feel?
I thought it was fine. It was okay. It was not good. It was not.
Good, thank God.
It was far from great.
Okay.
But I also don't think it was as bad as people are making out to be.
Okay.
And I think the people who are making out to be bad wouldn't like James. With you being the exception. Sorry, I'm not me. This is not me instigating right now. But I feel like people who dislike this film aren't used to other James L. Brooks movies because a lot of the issues that you just mentioned, we'll get into when we talk about As Good as It Gets, I think applies to that film as well.
Right.
So, and maybe that was, going in with those sorts of expectations. You being a huge fan, of course this would be disappointing. Yeah. I agree. This is not a great film. This isn't up there with Terms of Endearment or Broadcast News or anything.
You left As Good as It Gets out of there. Out of that lineup. What's that about?
No, this is not, unfortunately, a master returning to his craft and showing they still got it. This isn't George Miller making Fury Road in 2015 and blowing everyone away and like showing all the new blood that and
the master's still
the
at work.
master's still at work.
Still around.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is not what this film is. But there's some nice moments in here. As much of a mess as it is, and as much as a lot of the characters don't work, there are some that do, and there are some scenes that I thought, I still had an overall good time with Elle McCay. So I'm going to generously give it 3 stars. I think this is probably a 2.5-star movie.
Okay.
So I could easily, on another day, in a different mood, I could have gone down to the 2 with you. But yeah, I left the theater sort of getting what I expected, maybe a little less, but wasn't as disappointed as you were by the sounds of it. So let's get into spoilers and break down all the issues and maybe some of the silver linings of Elle McCay.
Please don't make me do this. Please don't ask the question.
I won't. I can give the rundown of what Elle McCay is about.
I can't actually remember the last time that I've given a description of what a movie's about because I think I always just I did my time.
You did your time.
I did my time.
At the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
The first season.
Yeah, the first season of Real Talk.
Yeah. So Elle McCay, it's surprisingly, I didn't realize this, it's a period piece. Takes place in 2008.
Yeah. Historic era.
Yes, and the narrator makes reference to this as being a time when we all still got along or we all liked each other, I think is the line.
Which is okay, the housing crisis.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if I agree with Estelle on that front. And Estelle was actually one of the things that I liked about the movie. Anyway.
Yeah, me too. It is a bit of a rose-tinted glasses version of 2008, I think. I think people, just because when you're in the moment of, now 2025, there's a lot of people upset about a lot of things right now, and you can look back on 2008 as a better time, but I don't think people who were actually there in 2008 would agree with that necessarily. Yeah. I think there was still, people weren't getting along with each other in 2008 either.
I think it's what you're saying of since right now is such a polarizing time, it's any time outside of right now is oh, that was a great time.
Right.
And it's
exactly.
Know. It's just because right now is.
And specifically with these characters who are presumably, they don't say what state they're in, but it definitely seems like a New England.
It's the state she was born in and grew up in.
Somewhere in the Northeast. And all these characters are very well off. They're not hurting from this, from the Great Recession that would be going on at the time.
No, just family trauma and dysfunction.
Right. These characters might have a lot of problems, but financial issues is not one of them, which I think is one of the biggest issues of 2008, that if you were going to set a film there, they make a lot of references to it because Ella, our main character, begins the film as lieutenant governor, and then the governor gets appointed to a higher position in federal government, and so she becomes acting governor for the rest of that term. And the film is about her very short stint in office because of a number of scandals and things that happen throughout the movie. She, by the end of the film, she ends up getting ousted. But the film sort of spins it as, look at how much she achieved in those few days, because her character is very much someone who is interested in the policy and the procedure of politics and trying to get things done.
Not the social and fame.
Right. Yeah. And she struggles with that part of the position throughout the film, and that's ultimately why she sort of gets pushed out. But along with her her career story. We follow her sort of underlying trauma of her mother's death and her resentment towards her father, who was was cheating on her regularly, and sort of their relationship they've become more and more pushed apart from each other over time. It's her relationship with her aunt, who's very supportive and who she grew up with after her mum passed, and her relationship with her brother, who similarly is dealing with that same trauma, but also his own relationship things.
And makes $2 million a year from sports betting related coding things.
Yeah.
Right.
He is a NEET. Basically, he's like,
I thought you were going to say
agoraphobic. I think they say he's hasn't left the house, his apartment or his house. Probably a house. Again, no one's struggling financially in this movie.
He has a full house. Well, he makes $2 million a year.
Yeah, that's true. He hasn't left his house because of a breakup that he had a year prior.
And he doesn't speak like a normal person would speak, I don't think.
No.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm glad we can agree on that. He does not speak like a normal human being. He has the, Mariah and I kept doing that.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think he's one of the few funny people, one of the few characters that has any sort of comedy through this movie, though. That's one of my big problems with a lot of Brooks movies that don't work for me is comedy falling flat, and this is definitely guilty of that, I would say.
100%.
But I think that's basically the bones of Ella McCay.
Yeah, you got it. And they do the classic thing of using bangs to show when characters were younger.
Yes.
And I loved that.
I love that as well.
I'm kidding.
Oh. I was going to say, I really like that this film does something that a lot of films don't do anymore, which is have actors that are obviously way older than they should be play their younger selves in high school.
A baseball cap or
I miss that in movies.
I do too. I like that part.
And they didn't do any de-aging that I can tell.
Yeah.
It just seemed
I don't think so.
like they didn't use any AI or deep fake nonsense to make them look younger, we've been seeing in a lot of movies lately.
Bangs and curly hair.
Just buy it.
Yeah.
And I do. I go along with the movie for that. I liked it.
Just vote.
I didn't mention the scandal really quickly. The big scandal, or the big antagonist of the film, ends up being her husband, who is revealed to be pretty much just in it for the fame and for trying to mooch off of her success and make it his own. And through a series of blunders, he ends up essentially blowing up her career.
Yep. Which her aunt predicts.
Yes, I like that as well.
I like that too. What I didn't like is how they introduce the husband, because the first scene that you see him in is it has been announced that she's going to be governor.
Yeah.
And he comes in and dances with her and sweeps her up off her feet.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like, oh, look at this charming stud guy. Yeah. No, he already just seems like a bad dude. He does.
Yeah.
And then they watch, everybody's like, oh, look, he danced with her. And everybody's like, look, the dancing's on the TV. The governor's dancing with her husband. I don't care. I don't care. That doesn't humanize her.
I think Ella doesn't think that, though. I think we're on Ella's side with that. The film doesn't think he's especially charming.
But I don't know why is it all up on all TVs and all the characters are like,
because audiences, because the public, the film doesn't think too highly of the public. The actual people who are struggling through a financial crisis, this is the type of film that is like, everyone else is an idiot, and Ella is the only one who's righteous and doing the right thing and knows better than everyone else.
This is where the man that I talked about earlier, the man that was sitting in front of us, this key character, when that happened, he went, well, because he was very audible throughout the viewing of things that he found enjoyable, funny, sad.
He was an interactive performer.
Oh, yeah. I was like, is he a plant? Did they pay him to come in and react to this for each, theater? That happened, and he went, oh. Oh, look at that.
Oh, so he liked the husband character in the beginning.
He liked that. Well, he just liked what this whole thing was about. Let me tell you about this. Sorry, can we do a little detour and I can talk about this guy?
Yeah, absolutely. It's your show. It's your show as much as it is my show.
I don't know why I ask you permission to do certain things. it's a completely empty theater that I saw this with our coworker, and this guy comes in like 15 minutes late and comes and sits directly in front of us.
Yeah.
And they would make the classic like old man joke, like they'd be like, "How are we gonna get through this?" And Jamie Lee Curtis would go, "Castration," and he'd go, and he would just be having a ball. And there's a very key thing that tells you about this character, and another thing that I can critique is the whole scene with the not spiked, but the weed drink and the cookie.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The drug drink and the drug cookie, and she drinks it. First of all, was that a prevalent thing in 2008? Were people having?
I think there were states that had legalized. They make a mention of it in the film. Like again, we're talking about a hypothetical state that isn't addressed or maybe doesn't exist. So maybe it's possible. I don't know.
When Ella goes over to visit her brother, she gets a drink out of the fridge and she eats a cookie, and then her brother's like, "Good luck on that trip."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Well," and now it's turning into like a 2000 stoner comedy. Like that's gonna kick in. And she's like, "What? This lemonade?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "You didn't see weed in big letters on the bottle?" And the guy was like, "Oh man." And then
been there.
she's also he was thinking back to his glory
That's
days.
hilarious.
He was like, "I remember when I did that." Then she picks up a cookie and she's eating a cookie, and the guy's like, "Yeah, the drink's not that strong, but the cookie's even stronger." And the guy goes, "I knew the cookie was." He was so happy with himself that he could have guessed, "Oh, the cookie has weed in it too."
Nice.
Isn't that so fun? And so I think part of what actually made this movie more enjoyable for me was seeing that there is an audience for this. This guy was having the time of his life. He was laughing where you're supposed to laugh.
Right.
He was getting
Every
a kick out of
joke
it.
was hitting.
Every joke was hitting hard.
Wow.
And so, wow. And so I think it made it more where I was like, "Oh, okay. As long as somebody's getting some enjoyment out of this, then it's not a,
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm
You really did not like this movie.
No.
Yeah.
And
no,
I went in because the trailer annoyed me, which is why we're playing this, and it just reminds me how much I already did not like the movie from the trailer. But when I went in, I had high hopes because I thought sometimes trailers do a movie a great disservice.
Yeah.
And I had faith in James L. Brooks, my guy. Any guy with the last name Brooks. Albert Brooks, we'll talk about him in a second.
Yeah.
Love Albert Brooks.
He's
so
really
much.
good in this too.
He is arguably one of the best parts.
Yeah.
Because I think he just knows how to function in a James L. Brooks world.
He's funnier than everyone else is in the movie.
100%.
He also has the biggest like character arc turn. It's a heartwarming moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just love Albert Brooks. You can't go wrong for me personally with Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. So I'm going to toss it back over to you if there's anybody fun in your screening that you want to talk about.
Yeah. I think jokes are essential. Jokes fall flat a lot in this movie. There's a lot of character moments that are like supposed to be very emotional that fall flat in this movie as well. But there are a handful of highlights. We mentioned the Albert Brooks character. He's sort of a colleague of Ella's, maybe a mentor, because he was the sitting governor before while she was lieutenant governor, and they make reference to the fact that they're a good team because he is good with people and being the front-facing sort of person for the administration, and she's great with policy. She has great ideas. He manages to get her ideas through, and together they achieve a lot and are very successful. But at a pivotal point in the movie where her career is essentially over because of the scandal, he has finally there's a little bit of confirmation because of the back and forth that they've been having throughout the film of are they sort of colleagues or are they friends or like to what extent are they antagonists to each other or are they working together and like actually care for each other. And he makes just a really great scene of him revealing how he does care for her and supports her and believes in her. And that's that James L. Brooks magic, I think. Another scene that I really liked, I thought this is classic James L. Brooks.
Classic.
Is actually, and this surprised me. I was not expecting this to be a highlight of the movie. I thought as soon as the brother character got introduced, I was like, he's not funny. He's not talking like a real person. I'm not gelling with this character, but I really loved the scene where he went to his ex-girlfriend's place and just the dialogue of that scene and the flow of Io Adebri and him, I actually thought really worked for me. It was like clearly it didn't for you.
No, why clearly?
I thought because you were gonna say something.
No, I'm supporting what you're saying. I was just gonna do an impression of the brother, but then I was like, I don't know if I can nail it. So. I don't know if I can do that confidently. So
yeah, I really like that scene. I think James L. Brooks, the thing that he does that no one else can do the way he does it, I think, is have a scene where you're sort of pulling a chord between sentimentality and people being cruel and mean to each other, and like, or just somehow messing it up and being, very human that way. And he gets a lot of comedy out of that. He gets gets more heart out of it, funnily enough, than if he was just playing it like straight sentimentality from any other rom-com that you've seen. And that scene, I think, did that perfectly. Where and his weirdness actually worked really well in that scene, playing off of who's trying to be like have some semblance of normalcy and how she wants the conversation to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James L. Brooks likes having weird men interact with beautiful women that are just trying to like make it work. He loves doing that.
Yeah.
Did you expect her to agree to go out with him again at the end?
No. But that was the great sort of twist to it. I liked it.
Again, the person I was seeing it with was already done by this point. So I think anything that came up that was even slightly could be made fun of, we just attacked. So that scene was, I think we kind of just ransacked it for what it was. But gotcha. I agree with what you're saying, that there is, once he was introduced and I was like, you're not a real person. You're annoying. I don't like you. But then I see him interact with another person that's not Ella.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can see. But he was just like the bang swipe to the side, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to live my life? And I'm like, just talk like a normal. Yeah. I felt like a boomer. Talk. Open your, talk.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's just me.
I mean, it's like literally pulling from the James L. Brooks playbook, because it's as you said, a weird character. In this case, I don't know what it is. It always has to be a male character with a mental illness of some description. Like, he's got agoraphobia.
Yep.
That is, doesn't excuse all, like, it makes sense why he does certain weird things, but it doesn't excuse him for, misreading social cues or just being bad at communicating to people.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know why he always has to make a man weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why he always has to give a man a mental illness.
Oh, I know why, and it works. It's a winning formula. That's why. I think that worked for me. Not a lot else did. What did you think of the relationship between Ella and her aunt?
I was going to ask you the same thing in this exact moment.
Well, I asked you first. So.
Well, I said first, so I'll answer the question. I think both Emma Mackey and Jamie Lee Curtis are good performers.
Yeah.
And I think they do kind of establish it well, but it's because they're trying to function in this world where it's like quirky girl and her aunt that supports her. It just falls flat.
It's a little too saccharine.
It's a little too saccharine.
It's sweet.
Yeah, we don't like sweet.
It's too sweet.
We want it to be rough around the edges and salty. We don't want it to be sweet. That's what.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like in a more conventional rom-com, it would fit better almost because it everything's sweet and like a fantasy and a typical rom-com.
I needed them to have moments of being mean to each other. This is not a real, you would have lied to me for the first time. What?
Yeah.
She's definitely lied to you before.
Yeah.
She's a teenager.
She's a human being.
And you should be mad that there's a dude jumping out of her window.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this, were you being safe? Is everything okay? No. And maybe that's just like.
No, you're absolutely right. I felt the exact same way.
Because that's what strengthens a relationship. It's there's no stakes in, they're just nice to each other and they accept, and she can call her anytime, night or day, and she'll be like, what do you need, sweetie? Come on over. I'll give you my clothes off my back, and I'll give. There needs to be a scene of it's like, I hate you and I hate you too, and then they come back
terms
together.
of endearment, mother-daughter relationship.
Yes. Yeah, we need I'm like, I crave dysfunction.
Yeah,
I'm like, I
agree.
need there to be something wrong with you two. And it's like I think they try to make up for it with Woody Harrelson, because she's just not even giving him the time of day, and he is just painted as this horrible person that's kind of trying his best, but not really.
Yeah.
He's only doing it to benefit himself.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we needed a nuance between the two. We needed something good in him that we can latch onto, and we needed something bad in her that we could latch onto.
So true.
Then there's the whole thing with the driver.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
before we get to that, I want to also add about the Woody Harrelson subplot. It's to one note, and it's to present. It takes up too much of the runtime.
Yeah.
Because you're exactly right. There's not enough texture to grab onto. It's so just like he's bad, and we can see right through him right from the beginning, and they have multiple scenes together where nothing is achieved, no progress is made. Yeah, exactly.
It's the same scene where he's like, I want a relationship. She's like, I don't. And he's like, come on, please. And she's like, I have to go be the governor of the state that I was born in.
I love that. I actually love that line. It got me.
And I'm sorry. Did you tear up?
I didn't cry.
Okay.
No,
but it got you.
I choked up. It hit me for a second.
Well, I'm so sorry though, because that Mariah and I've just been doing. Are you thinking of your mom?
Yeah.
Which is that's so.
But
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, no, it's because it's in that relationship is too sweet. If if word for word those lines of dialogue had been put into another James L. Brooks movies where the characters had a little bit more tension between them or something, and this was a sweet moment between them, it would hit harder, I think.
And if I'm being fully transparent, it got me too. It just. If I'm being real.
That's awesome.
It did but you know.
Yeah, I get it.
Guys, sacrifice who you truly are for the, for the vibe.
Yeah, I hate you.
For the bit. It got me, but then there was a moment where I was like, oh, but then that overcame how I feel about their relationship as a whole.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're so... It's so true. Do you want to talk about Kumail Nanjiani's character, or should we get to our next movie?
Let's just get to the next movie. Okay. That's how unimportant and
Yeah, it's...
I like Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
He's funny, and I think he functions well in this role.
Yeah.
It's just, let's just... Do you want to talk about it?
No. Okay. I think that,
For the sake of time.
That sums it up. Okay, we will take a quick break, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back to 8 News Real Talk. More James L. Brooks. We're going to be talking about the 1997 highly acclaimed, maybe his most acclaimed film.
I like Terms of Endearment is more, but maybe that's just
that did win Best Picture, right?
We don't know.
James L. Brooks is As Good as It Gets, starring Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt.
And Greg Kinnear.
And
a young Maya Rudolph.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
And the
other
dog.
people.
And the dog.
And the guy from Scream. I guess we should preface a little bit. The reason why we're reviewing this has been, ever since we started the show, Julia's wanted to air this out.
Whoa!
Have it out, air out our dirty laundry. One of the first things that got us talking about movies was a Letterboxd review I did for As Good as It Gets, where I gave it 1.5 stars and just wrote As Bad as It Gets.
You trying to make me angry at the start? You trying to?
I'm just trying to give people context for where some of this discussion could end up going.
Right. You're like, if Julia starts to attack me, just know that it's not physically attack me. Just know it's not my fault. It's about a Letterboxd review. She's doing this over a Letterboxd, and I just
exactly.
You look back, I'm gone. You're like, where'd she go, guys? Did you see where she go? And I just. We were talking about our favorite movies, and I was talking about As Good as It Gets is one of my favorite movies of all time. I have emotional stakes in this. It's my dad loves this movie. My mom loves this movie. Something we would watch as a family and just have a ball. The version of me watching this movie is the guy that's sitting in front of my coworker and I'm watching Ella McCay. I knew it was good. That's me. Yeah. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And so to see that not only did you give it 1.5 stars, but you put this one-liner.
Throwaway one-liner review.
As bad as it gets. It was like it was like knife in the heart and then twist so the wound won't close. And I was like, how can you hate? But I'm open to, other opinions. You said there, you were like, I'm usually pretty respectful of people having different opinions.
Right.
It's not when you have.
This is the exception.
It's not when they come from you.
Well, maybe we're going to rectify it because over the weekend, you came over, we watched As Good as It Gets, and I got to say, I have a different perspective. Having someone pointing a gun at your head throughout the entire film changes how you perceive a movie.
I had a Glock on him at all times. Madeline didn't do any. Madeline was like, go ahead. Oh my gosh, this is what I do. I invite myself over to their home, and I force them to watch movies. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to Tannock and Madeline. But thank you guys for...
No, it was overdue for a reappraisal. So here we are. What would you review? What would you rate As Good as It Gets? What do you think of it?
You don't have to ask me that.
I
It's
know.
a 5-star. I know. It's a 5-star, and I love everything about it. And I know as I will say with any of my favorite movies, I know they're not perfect movies. I can completely understand why somebody would not like this movie, but I love it for so many reasons that I can't get into. I feel like without
We'll get into spoilers.
But how did your first watch versus me metaphorically holding a gun to your head?
I'll get into that when we get into spoilers because again, specific things.
Yeah, what's your
but
updated
I will say
rating?
my review. I'm going to give it 3 stars.
Wow.
Same as Ellen McCay. I think it has definitely improved on a second viewing, knowing what to expect a little bit,
And having a gun.
seeing the silver linings, trying to see past some of its more obvious issues that I think are still there. But no, I got more out of it this time.
I'm glad.
And I think it's a good movie. It's somewhere between good and okay.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Before we dive into spoilers, because I think that's where this is going to get
Yeah. Violent.
nasty. I just want to say that I'm
Yeah.
glad that you updated it.
Yeah.
And any critiques that you level against it, I will try to dismantle
Right.
with every fiber of my being. So, proceed.
All right, let's get into spoilers. I think because you're so familiar with it, do you want to tell us what As Good as It Gets is about?
Sure. Jack Nicholson plays Melvin Udall. He is a acclaimed author in this universe. He's well off financially. He also has OCD, which makes him unpleasant to be around. He has severe OCD, and I think they also try to use it as a pawn to. He is very.
That's not the only reason he's difficult to be around.
No,
but it's
he's
one of
also
the ones that the film presents. Yeah.
racist, homophobic,
Right.
anti-Semitic. He is the worst.
Yeah.
And that's, why would you put this guy at the center of a rom-com? What is seemingly a rom-com? Well, then he meets Helen Hunt, who is a waitress at this restaurant that he goes to as part of his routine as somebody with OCD, and she has a chronically ill son. She has a son with some sort of respiratory issues that she doesn't know what's going on with him. She is not financially well off. She lives with her mom. The dad is not in the picture. So you kind of see them meet where he is doing really well in life on the surface, not doing well underneath. And you can see that she's also struggling. Then comes in Greg Kinnear, who is Melvin's neighbor. He's gay. He likes classical music. There's a lot of interesting things about him. He's like that well defined.
That's really good.
Thank you. He's an artist. And he's also kind of struggling. His art dealer is played by Cuba Gooding Jr. His manager, and it's kind of about how all of these characters come to deal with each other and establish relationships with one another. Greg Kinnear also has a dog that Jack Nicholson has to eventually take care of. Verdell or Rydell?
Yeah, I keep getting
it's Verdell.
It's a little confusing because his last name is Odell or Udall. Udall.
Melvin Udall.
And then Verdell. Yeah, there's a lot of
meant to be.
similar names,
Meant to have
or
Verdell.
just 2 similar names. But
Also, Greg Kinnear at one point, he has a model come over that he's supposed to sketch, and the model they pick him up off the street, and this guy comes in and brings his friends, and they ransack his place, and they attack Greg Kinnear, and he gets beaten basically kind of within an inch of his life.
yeah,
And so that sets up. Whoa. Can't laugh at that because I'll use that.
sorry. This is one of my problems with the movie. I won't go into this just yet. We'll get to it. But it's just, you're describing a good setup for a rom-com thus far, and then you describe that scene. He gets beaten to an inch of his life, and then you're like, wait, what? This is the same movie?
That's what I'm talking about, though. Yeah. You think it's going to be this. You think it's going to be your classic rom-com. It looks like it. It sounds like it. But then it throws in a bunch of other parts of the human experience, and I think it was pretty brave to set up.
Sorry.
I think it was...
I didn't mean... I'm going to try not to...
I'm kidding. Every time you laugh, I'm going to use it as...
You deserve it. I need to keep it
okay.
in mind.
It's okay to laugh about somebody getting attacked. And, and it's about how all of these characters are trying to find the good in their lives together because they're all kind of at rock bottom together. And it's funny and it's heartfelt, and I don't know. It gives me hope to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's cynical, too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a hopeful movie in a lot of ways. And if we're getting into spoilers, because the whole thing is about Jack Nicholson's trying to pursue Helen Hunt, and she's like, why would I give you the time of day? You're a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
But you see him start to change. And I think the title of the movie is really what you can apply to how all of these characters end up. Is this as good as it gets? Greg Kinnear ends up losing his home, losing all his... anything to his name other than his artwork and his ability to move forward. Helen Hunt is like, kind of has to settle for Jack Nicholson, but it's like, good for her. He has a lot of money. Yeah. He might be a bad guy, but this is the same thing. And I compare this when I was trying to make Tannock understand this movie. I tried to see it through the materialist's perspective because you loved, I'm talking about you like you're not in the room.
No, I loved
You loved Materialist. So I tried to compare it to that has a cynical outlook. Dakota Johnson almost ended up with Pedro for his money and not a real connection. And so the way that they develop these relationships and the way that it is realistic in the sense that you're not going to see Jack Nicholson change who he is entirely by the end of the movie. You're not going to see him become an amazing person that's no longer racist or homophobic. You're going to see him just kind of bit by bit based on how he learns humility from Helen Hunt and Greg Kinnear.
That's my favorite bit about your take on the film that even in this rewatch didn't click for me. Like at the ending, I still interpret it as a flat happy, like a straightforward happy ending for these two people that fall in love, and ends how every other rom-com ends, with them going on a date or whatever and agreeing to date each other. But I like that interpretation that, you know, there's no promise here that this relationship is going to hold up, or similarly to the Materialists, like they end up getting married, but is it going to last once the credits roll? Like that's for you to interpret how you see. I really like that interpretation of the movie.
And let me say, I still interpret it as a happy ending. I think it is a happy ending. I have that interpretation loaded for you.
Oh, for me specifically?
For you.
Because you knew I would appreciate that. Okay.
But it is part of how I viewed it because when I was younger, I saw it as a flat happy ending. Now that I don't know if I've matured. I don't know if anybody would say that I'm mature. But as I've gotten older, I see that it's not really happy in the same sense. It's more of she's settling and he's kind of settling. Not really. You can't settle for peak era Helen Hunt. We'll get into that. We'll get into peak era Helen Hunt because she is gorgeous, stunning, beautiful in this movie. She puts on that red dress. Anyway, I could just ooze about this movie for you. But why don't we get into
you want me to just knock it down a peg?
Why don't you try to knock it down a peg?
I think one of the big issues that still persists with even this go around is honestly, it's the comedy. The comedy doesn't work for me. Comedy is subjective, you know. Like some people find.
No, it's not. Okay. I already started to sound like comedy.
This is a subjective aspect of. I can get to more objective issues, but this issue for me is a subjective one. I don't find the film especially funny. I think especially in the first half, where it's playing his bigoted remarks for laughs. I think, like, not in the sense that, like, we laugh along because we agree with him.
Yeah.
We're supposed to laugh at him for being wrong, but we also get we're supposed to get a little bit of pleasure from seeing how uncomfortable he's making the victims of his bigoted remarks feel.
Yeah.
That's not funny to me, personally. And I swear this might sound, the way I set that up might make it sound like I'm high-roading the comedy. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that, like, people can't find it funny. It's not implicating you to agree with him on those jokes. They're not funny to me.
That is a very, very valid criticism. I also just love that it's like you being like, I don't find racism and bigotry funny. You might. Somebody like Julia might find these jokes about.
No, and again, when you find it funny, you're not agreeing with that. You are laughing at him for saying the wrong thing. But it's that second part where, like, there's a little bit of the joke is like how these two people having dinner end up leaving, or having breakfast end up leaving the restaurant, and we're kind of supposed to laugh at how much of a scene he's making and how he's exerting his will on others, sort of. So that's one thing. I think
very valid criticism.
Yeah, and the first time I saw it, I really, really disliked it because of Jack Nicholson's character being not only problematic but just a pretty reprehensible person at the beginning. One thing on this rewatch that I don't think I gave it credit for is this isn't a Scrooged scenario where like it rushes his development at the end and like we get
it's
a big
not unearned.
Yeah, it's not unearned. It actually isn't. I know you're saying that.
No, I'm saying it because it's like I usually use that as a bit, but it's actually coming full circle.
It genuinely earns it.
Yeah.
It's bit by bit, and it's little kindnesses that he does throughout that accumulates to him wanting to be a better person by the end of it. I feel that. I think it works on a dramatic level more. It still doesn't. I still don't empathize or like him enough to get the catharsis of the happy ending though, because it feels he doesn't deserve Helen Hunt. Even with all the kindnesses and his improvement and the improvements he makes, I don't think it doesn't sit right, or not that it doesn't sit right, but I just don't feel like exultantly happy at the end, like satisfied with the film.
Yeah.
I think like that's a key thing that's missing. And any
that.
time that they have to have a scene together, it's also a chemistry thing. I don't think they have very good chemistry together.
Okay.
Like a great counterpoint within the film is the scene with her and Greg Kinnear. They have incredible chemistry together.
But that's the joke, is that
It is. It's intentional.
They go through this because a big part that I kind of left out of the plot, they have to go on this trip. All three of them go on a trip together because once Greg Kinnear loses all of his stuff and he's broke, he has to go ask his parents for money.
Yeah.
And Cuba Gooding Jr. makes Jack Nicholson drive him up there, and so Jack Nicholson brings Helen Hunt along. So it's all the three of them. And this is when Jack Nicholson is arguably at his most reprehensible, but also at his most kind at moments. And I think it's the thing of where you can see that since this is such a big break in his routine, his OCD is really like ramping up, and he has these little outbursts.
Yeah.
And so it's this really funny thing where Greg Kinnear gets to spend the night with Helen Hunt. And he's drawing her because he's an artist, and he finally has this inspiration. It's this moment where he's like, I don't need to ask my parents for money. Like, he remembers why he's an artist in the first place. Yeah. Because he sees peak era Helen Hunt, which I agree with what you're saying. Jack Nicholson does not deserve peak era Helen Hunt. Yeah. No one does. No one does. I start crying.
But I think the chemistry between Nicholson and Helen Hunt, like the romance would work more if there are some things working against the romance, that if you had really good chemistry, if you had two actors that maybe it's the age gap, maybe it's just these two actors don't particularly have that chemistry, and that happens too.
You're like, I don't support bigotry and I don't support age gap relationships. And if you're somebody like Julia that does support bigotry and age gap relationships, then
it's a hurdle to get over. But again, everything can be overcome if it works. If just those two actors together, I buy their relationship, and I kind of don't. The other thing working against this relationship that, again, could be saved with better chemistry is, and this is, I'm trying not to make the cynical interpretation because it's easy, but it is something that doesn't play as cute as I think it should, or as wholesome as it should, which is when he gets involved and pays for all of her son's health care and things. There's a little bit of a quid pro quo relationship that begins there, where he does it to get her to go back to waitressing, but it's also, he also uses it as a bargaining chip to get her to go on the trip with him at one point by guilting her with that. And we're supposed to buy the fact that, well, we have to trust that he's not going to use this money as some sort of uncomfortable power dynamic in the future. Because the entire relationship would be built on that. And I don't know if I buy that. There's something about the money involved that makes this relationship work. I mean, you literally brought it up before me that she gets something out of this. He's rich. He fixes all of her problems. Like, it's the Rocky thing. Every great romantic relationship in a movie is we fill each other's gaps. Yeah. And in this case, the gaps that he's filling for her seems to be mostly monetary.
I don't think that, I disagree with that.
Okay.
Because then I was going to also do another materialist comparison just to keep it in your ballpark, to keep you, happy, to keep you on my side in some way. Yeah. He makes her feel valued as a person. That was a big thing in the materialist, is making other people feel valued. Yes,
but the message of the materialist is that's not a good basis for a relationship.
But makes her feel valued as a person. Like, makes her feel valued and pays her like genuine compliments and shows her that he sees who she is as a person.
Right, but she ends up with Chris Evans not because he has money that makes her feel valuable. It's because he cares about her problems. She's the person who stays on the phone and hears about, the bad day at work she had.
I think Jack Nicholson does make her feel valued outside of money. I think he does see who she is and cares about her problems. I think, a part of him paid for the son's medical bill so she could come back to work, but I think a part of him just wanted to do that for her.
I agree. And
I don't think, again, we have to place trust, but I don't think he would use it as, I think he only used it as the power dynamic for the trip.
Those 2 times, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right, though. That's what you have to buy for the relationship.
Because the big part about it, he refuses the thank you. She puts all this big thank you in the note, and he's like, no, I don't want to thank you. And when she comes over and does the big speech about how she will never, ever have sex with him, he's like, right. I don't think that's what he was expecting out of this.
No.
I think the reason that he invites her on the trip, obviously he wants to get in good with peak era Helen Hunt. I'm going to keep saying peak era Helen Hunt. It's peak era Helen Hunt. Is that he wants, and this is going to play into I think he wants a buffer between him and Greg Kinnear because he genuinely is afraid of
he's homophobic.
He's homophobic.
Yeah.
Guys, you have to listen to me, guys. I'm looking right at the camera. I'm not. Don't pay attention to him.
I'm not looking.
I get that that's a big hurdle to get over. Is the really reprehensible parts of Jack Nicholson's character. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think once you see, I think I function as Helen Hunt in this movie, where like as a viewer, where I'm like, God, this guy sucks. But then you start to see the little parts of him that are like, and maybe there's hope there in this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I hear you. It's tough. It's because I do agree that like I don't think he does the money thing for just to get her back to waitressing. I think he genuinely does care for her and her the situation she's in. But it does make this weird sort of thing that's just underlying their relationship the whole time.
It does.
That it's just there in the background. And he doesn't have to. Yeah.
But I also think you have to have faith in Helen Hunt she has been established as this strong character that stands up for, herself and is a very powerful personality.
Yeah.
And knows who she is and what she wants and, will pick her son over, and just doesn't put up with stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to have faith in her that she's not gonna,
let that happen.
She marches to his apartment and tells him, this isn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so I think you have to have faith that even if he was like, well, I gave you that money, you have to go on this trip, a part of her would be like, no, that's not how that works. Or if he tries to use it down the line, that she'd be like, no.
Yeah.
She says it multiple times. She's like, I don't know why I should be giving this a shot. I don't know why I would be giving you all these chances, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
When they're having that moment before the bakery opens, where she's walking on the bricks and because he can't touch any cracks in the sidewalk.
Gonna get to this, yeah.
And she's like, whatever this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And then he makes her feel valued because he gives her a great compliment. And I know that's one of the, you're like, but none of that.
There was something else in that scene that I was going to get to, but
go ahead. No.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to talk about Helen Hunt's character because that is something that this time around clicked way more for me.
Helen Hunt's character?
Yes. Yeah, her performance, that incredible scene where she's talking to her mum in the kitchen about, all the sacrifices she's making. And I think all of that really works. She is such a strong character, and I buy it. I buy that she is a strong person. But the issue with their relationship and how that strong will exerts itself is that when it comes to his OCD, again, a mental illness that she has, there's a couple of different ways in which their romance fixes his OCD. And one is when he's doing it on his own account, which is like when he goes back to her apartment right at the end and he crosses that threshold, the awkward steps and tiles to get into her apartment building. Like that's him overcoming and, or when he's in love and happy, because OCD does have, it has like episodes or whatever where they're worse depending on stress levels and things. I mean, the definition, I think, of the mental illness is something like cyclical.
Yeah.
All of that is great. But there are also moments where Helen Hunt specifically pressures him to stop doing OCD things. That last scene, she tells him to get off the sidewalk because he's OCD walking. And instead of being
He's
accepting of
OCD
it,
walking.
instead of being accepting of that from him, she pressures him, this isn't going to work for me. And he has to force himself not to walk on the sidewalk the way he was in that scene.
But he doesn't. No, go ahead.
No, I just think whatever the intention of the film is, that's there. That happens the way that it's presented in that scene. And again, there are generous and ungenerous ways of reading it. I'm not trying to do one or the other. I'm just saying these are issues that happen in my head while I'm watching the movie that holds me back from being like, there's something about this relationship where these two people are not clicking. I don't buy that this is a healthy or that they really care for each other the way that people in romantic relationships should. That's some of my issues with the chemistry and the relationship there.
And I think they're completely valid,
Okay.
and I understand that.
But yeah, to play devil's advocate.
Oh, you don't need to. I'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm kidding. I would like to hear you play devil's advocate.
I think there, as I said, there's enough in there of him changing for the better, or when he talks about how, he took the medication after that confrontation with her.
It's like my favorite scene of all time ever in the world.
The scene where they're talking in the restaurant, you mean?
Yeah, where he goes, I started taking the pills. And
I
she's
agree.
like, I don't understand why that's and he's
A
like,
compliment,
you
yeah.
make me want to be a better man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You want to talk about getting ya.
And it's got the James L. Brooks, I was talking about the thread, like rubber banding us between sentimentality and then screwing up, because the way he ends that scene.
The very next thing he says is one of the worst things he says in the entire movie.
I love that. I will. That's another thing where, that's what James L. Brooks can do that no one else can.
Well, because the next thing that he says is, I think, how I read that scene is that is a compulsive OCD thought. That was just the first thing that came to his head that he said. That's not what he genuinely meant. That's not what he was trying to say about bringing her on the trip. That was just the first thing that popped up, and he was nervous, and that's the first thing that came out. I don't think he genuinely meant to, say that. I think that was just, a impulse, some intrusive something that came into his head and that he said.
I don't know. This is another hard thing about this film and this character. The OCD excuse
could be used as a write-off for a lot of stuff.
For any social faux pas that he has.
I don't use it to write off.
I know you don't.
Racism
I know
and
you're
bigotry.
not.
I just use it to write off that because.
In that moment, I didn't read that as being the OCD. Okay. I read that as him just being, uncomfortable with getting suddenly quite close with her and feeling, being self-destructive in a way by just saying something hurtful because he didn't want to say what he really felt. Yeah. But yeah, that's another difficult thing with the OCD thing. Is a really weird element to this film that at times it's really working. At times it's supposed to be mining comedy from it. At times it's there to excuse some of the things he does. It serves a very weird role in this film. I wonder if it would have been better without that, if he was just a crotchety, old man that had his underlying social issues already, but that didn't get awkwardly mixed into the stew. Because I have seen various takes on whether this is a fair or faithful representation of what OCD is like. So
you're like, what if he just had high cholesterol and you had to take the pills for that? What if he just had high blood pressure?
It makes it interesting as well. It's tough. It's one of the things that makes the film so fascinating as an artifact, but I also think at times it works to its detriment. It's just...
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's tough.
But may I raise you this?
Yeah.
Good film. Helen Hunt. Jack Nicholson. Greg Kinnear. It just, I don't know. And I think it's, of course, all of my 5-star ratings are based on personal experiences that I have with movies. And
yeah, I think that's the case with everyone. That's all my favorite movies too.
But I'm not able to differentiate. I can't then take a critical actually I guess I can.
Yeah,
but
no, I think you've done a great job defending the
thanks,
film.
Man.
I really like your take of it being, it's more cynical and it's not necessarily as sweet as it sells itself as being.
But it is still a little sweet.
Yeah.
And there's little glimpses of hope. I love the complete turnaround where you just see the Greg Kinnear. Also, this is kind of, I guess I like this, but also don't like this, as I've gotten older that Greg Kinnear's just okay with being homeless and like he makes this complete turnaround. There's no way that this guy is part of this world and community would then come around and be like, it's okay. I'm just gonna draw and hope for the best. No. And I'm gonna live with it. And he starts saying I love you to everybody, which I kind of love. But
I love his character in this. I think he's very likable. I'm enamored by his performance. This has the same issue as another film that I have issues with, which is Forrest Gump. He's the Jenny character.
Okay.
He is a good person that the film is just constantly, like, the writer being God in this case it's stranger than fiction. It's literally
you're trying to use all my favorite movies against me.
He is being smited and being constantly, there could be an ungenerous interpretation, which I would not believe in, but the fact he's a homosexual character is the reason that he has to be punished by God, fate, whatever is happening, because he is just constantly getting bad luck throughout this film. Having said that, unlike Jenny in Forrest Gump, he does get his happy ending at the end of this. Even though it's not as you said, it's not as obvious a happy ending in terms of things work out for him. It's more so that he finds some sort of inner peace that he didn't have before. Exactly.
I think they're all getting their bad lucks on this. Obviously he gets kind of the worst of it because of it's a physical, but I think she's getting some bad luck with her kid
she starts there, but by the end she's
but you could say the worst luck of all is that she ends up with Jack Nicholson.
I would say
Am I right? Got him.
Pandering to the audience. And I also just hate that how ridiculous the Death Wish style scene is where the punks break into the... Speaking of tonally all over the place, like with Ella McCay, that is a scene that just does not work in this movie at all. The scene where he's in the hospital, and I would shoot this if I were James L. Brooks. Tinfoil hat moment. We haven't had one of these in a while.
We haven't.
I would shoot that entire interaction with him on the bed without showing his face until maybe he pulls up the mirror and sees like part of his face or something. And you get the reaction shots, you get the comedy from Cuba Gooding Jr. freaking out or whatever. But it feels really mean how hardcore they went with the prosthetics and the makeup there to make him disfigured. Like, it doesn't fit with but it's playing for laughs. Like, that whole scene is going for jokes with Cuba Gooding Jr. Like, how loud can he like scream and do whatever? And it's like, what is the tone here that we're going for? Like, you're showing like a very gory looking face to like a completely innocent, lovely person that we've been getting to know throughout the film this far.
I loved it. I love that scene. I laugh just as hard every time.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to. I think, as with all comedies, it's ultimately it's subjective. So there you go. As good as it gets.
I think we were pretty kind to each other.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
Guys, we did good.
I didn't really think it was going to be bad.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither.
All right, folks. Well, that was a very long episode this week, but because we didn't have one last week, we made up for it.
Would you recommend people watch As Good as It Gets?
If you're a James L. Brooks fan, I would say yes. I think there's
but not on its own merit as like a standalone film outside of...
You know what? I'll say yes anyway. Because
you don't have to. Just...
She's holding up a gun for anyone who can't see. No, because even when it's not working, it is fascinating as a
character
bizarre, study. Yeah. This was like the type of movies that would win awards in 1997. It's kind of crazy. We talk about the mid-budget movie disappearing. Like, this is one of those kinds of things with at times outrageous plotting, but ultimately very, very good acting and very, very good writing for a lot of it. So there you go. As Good as It Gets, Ella McCay, James L. Brooks.
James L. Brooks. Have faith in the old James L. Brooks. It's okay that he's not doing so great these days.
Or if you're me, he's doing exactly the same as he was in the 90s.
Turn it off before
All
I
right,
start.
that's it. All right, thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.